where she served as executive director. She has traveled frequently to international fashion capitals to provide her expertise in creating and organizing fashion events and establishing international marketing and communications platforms.
And actually, I'm going to go a little further because she was the executive director of CFDA from 91 to 2001. And that's where she came up with the concept 7th on 6th. And the reason why, and I hope I don't get emotional, which I already have. But anyway, she took a concept and made it reality. And for someone to do that and have that drive and that passion to see something through, that's the inspiration that she's given me. Because for me to take this concept of taking a trade association in Washington, D.C., and making it a reality when no one got behind us, and we're continuing to push and push and push. I look up to her, I'm sorry, and I cry ugly, so I get all red, I get red, because I'm like, because I'm like, but she gives me hope. She gives me inspiration that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And just the path that she's gone down from CFDA and then IMG, the multimedia company that's sports entertainment that didn't even have a fashion unit. And I'm sure Fern convinced them the way that I'm convincing Don and everyone in here to do what we need. She convinced them to create a fashion division where she was senior VP of IMG Fashion. And to take that to Mercedes-Benz, getting behind it as the title sponsor, to creating daily front row publication, and then IMG models. That's amazing. So I look to you, Fern. I'm sorry, Fern. And I thank you. And I know that now you've gone on to a new endeavor. It's a small business, correct? To creating Fern Mallis, LLC. So I will be calling you a lot. Because not just for you to be a mentor to me, but also to just continue to allow me to talk to someone so that I don't give up. So I would like to present this award to Fern Mallis. Inspiration and the light that goes from Fern Mallis.
Thank you all very much. I'm usually the one crying at the end when I get an award, not the presenter. Thank you, jeez. No pressure here. So thank you, Lara and Angie and Christine and Anne, and this is the sweater. So I recommend you all get on her list. So thank you, Greater Washington Fashion Chamber of Commerce and Fashion Washington. I am honored to be part of the first annual State of Style Awards and Advocacy Day, and to be receiving the Elements of Fashion Legacy Award. I love being part of the first of anything, and legacy is such a great, imposing word and responsibility. It's great to be here in DC, a city, and by that I mean government, which still needs, I think, to do a much better job of acknowledging fashion and its importance to our country, our world, and our culture. And I think this organization will go a long way in furthering those goals. And now, having a First Lady who, in her own personal ways, in fact, keeping fashion in the forefront, and thankfully she looks great, I think that you're all on the right track. In a country like France and Italy, it clearly is a government agenda that the fashion and apparel industry is a critical part of what they stand for and what they're known for around the world. And this is something that America does not do, and we all wind up doing it in the private sector. And that you are here at the seat of government where that can change. I've spent the greater part of my career trying to defend and explain to anyone who would listen how important fashion is, as both an economic engine generating billions of dollars, jobs, trade, and influencing and telling the world about America. More people around the world know who Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, and Tommy Hilfiger are than the most important politicians not working far from here. They are America's ambassadors. And that is why I have loved my job. When I was executive director of the Council of Fashion Designers of America, and I created a company called 7th on 6th, now known as Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week or Tennessee Bryant Park. I grew up in the Garment District, now known as the Fashion District, which also was honored here today. I always went to work as a curious little child with my dad and my uncles, all of whom worked in the district. And coming full circle this summer, I'm chairing an exhibition called Sidewalk Catwalk. It's an outdoor exhibit of over 30 mannequins to be dressed and clothed in an array of materials, rubbers, plastic, paints, anything that can live outdoors for all of July and August on Broadway from Times Square to Herald Square, which is also known as Macy's. And designers are doing mannequins include Nanette Lepore, Donna Karan, Kenneth Cole, Tom Brown, Yoli, Naeem Khan, Isabel Toledo, Norma Kamali, Tommy, Isaac, Michael Kors, and many, many more. So I hope you will all have a chance to visit New York this summer and see this amazing runway. And this exhibit is being created to drive traffic and bring eyeballs into that fashion district to keep all of that energy about Save the Garment Center front and foremost in everybody's minds, and to celebrate the creativity of what the industry and the creative community does. But I'm here today, I think, as a business of fashion pioneer, and I can tell you, Fashion Week is a very big business. And it brings into New York City's coffers over $500 million each year. It generates jobs, many, many jobs, and has become the biggest media event in New York twice a year. And for those of you who don't know, it all started with an accident. At Michael Kors Fashion Show in 1991, he was showing in an empty loft space in a concrete building on 24th Street in New York. And as designers love being in raw concrete spaces, when you turn on the bass music, if you've ever sat at a fashion show, you can go deaf. But anything that's not nailed down starts to crumble, and in this case, the ceiling started to crumble. On the runway, onto the shoulders of Naomi, Linda, Claudia, Kate, all the one-name supermodels of the day. And they get paid the big bucks because it didn't faze them at all. They just brushed it off their shoulders and kept walking. But when chunks of plaster landed in the laps of the fashion journalists in the front row, like Susie Menkes from the International Herald Tribune, the then New York Times fashion critic, Carrie Donovan, and others, they didn't take it so kindly. And I only just found out recently from Michael Kors that Carrie Donovan had a perfect shade of red Chanel lipstick that she always carried. That was, it was the end of the color. They didn't make it anymore. That broke from the ceiling. The plaster landing in her bag, and she was really annoyed about that. But in any case, the next day, their headlines were, "We live for fashion. We don't want to die for it." And that was literally the month that I was hired to be the new director of the CFDA, and I said, I think my job description just changed. And it became the mission to organize, centralize, modernize, and create a platform for American designers to compete globally around the world and level the playing field with Paris, and Milan, and London, and everywhere else. And as they say, the rest is history. I did go on after 10 years at CFDA to join IMG, and luckily with IMG's resources and synergies, we created Fashion Weeks in Mumbai and Berlin and Moscow, and we bought companies in Australia, so we added Sydney and Melbourne, and we consulted in Mexico City and South America for a while, and Toronto, and so IMG really owns that fashion platform around the world. And I've had 9 spectacular years of being that ambassador and connecting all those dots and making all that happen and continuing to, fight the fight that fashion matters. It's not just a silly, frivolous business. It really matters. And as Christine said, I've just left to start what will start off as a small business and be a very big business. So congratulations to all of the honorees today. Thank you very much, and let's keep fashion, creativity, and our industry on Washington's agenda.